welcome to tonight's meeting of Committee of Adjustment. Mr. Hardcastle drew the short straw, so he's going to read the preamble tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to tonight's Committee of Adjustment meeting. This is a meeting to consider applications for minor variance and consents held under the authority of the Planning Act of Ontario. The role of the committee is to review the proposals that are before it, consider the evidence provided, and make a decision based upon the 4 tests established under the Planning Act. In order to conduct an effective and efficient hearing, we have adopted the following process. Tonight's meeting will be live streamed and available for future viewing on the town's live stream website, oakville.ca/live. People attending this meeting are to be courteous and respectful to the members of the committee, town staff, and others in attendance. We ask that cellular devices be switched off at this time. All remarks and questions are to be directed to the chair. All persons wishing to address the committee are required to provide their name and address. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided to all speakers. Any submissions beyond 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the chair. Any materials presented to the committee for viewing will remain the property of this committee. Persons seeking a deferral or withdrawal of an application will be invited to do so at the onset of the meeting. If a request for deferral is granted, it is the responsibility of the applicant to contact the Secretary-Treasurer regarding the scheduling of a new hearing date. At the request of the committee, the applicant may be asked to provide a brief presentation and answer any questions that may arise. If the applicant has any concerns with the recommendations and proposed conditions found within the staff report, this is the time to advise the committee. Any persons who wish to support or oppose the application will then be given an opportunity to speak to the committee. In the interest of efficiency, groups sharing the same view are asked to select a spokesperson, and individual speakers are asked not to cover the same points as those who have already spoken. The applicant will then be given an opportunity to respond to comments made by any interested parties and answer any additional questions from the committee. Discussion will then be closed and the matter taken into committee for a decision. Once the committee has made an oral decision, any person desiring a written copy must file with the Secretary-Treasurer a written request for notice of decision. A green sheet is provided on the table at the back of the room for this purpose, and only those filing such a request will be given any subsequent notice of appeal. Notice of the committee's decision will be mailed to the applicant and anyone else who filed a written request not later than 10 days following the decision for minor variances and 15 days for consents. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, you may appeal the decision to the local planning appeal tribunal. The last day to appeal will be noted on the decision. If no appeal is received within the prescribed time frame, the decision of the committee becomes final and binding. The applicant and anyone who received a copy of the decision will then be notified by written correspondence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardcastle. Tonight we have regrets from Ms. Murray and Ms. McHale. Committee members, any declaration of pecuniary interest? See none. Is there anyone who would like to request a deferral or a withdrawal of their application tonight? Again, I see no one. There are no consent applications, so we'll move to the minor variance applications, and we'll now hear CAV A135 at 3266 Shelbourne Place. Good evening, sir. We get your name and address, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members.
So could you step to the podium, the microphone, please?
My apologies. Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the committee and the staff. My name is Azmin Khosravi. I'm from Care Engineering, 603 Argus Road, Oakville, Ontario, unit number 207. Here I'm presenting the owner of the 3266 Shelbourne Place.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to this application tonight? See none. Committee members, note that staff is in support of this application. And do you wish a presentation? See none. Sir, is there anything that you'd like to add to the committee? Comment on the conditions that are proposed by staff?
No, we've been through the for a whole year, actually last year. with planning department, we've been in great communication with them, so more or less the case is clear for us. So if there's any question or any concern, I'm here to address it. Otherwise, I'll rest my case.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask again, committee members, no questions for the applicants? Seeing none, I would ask for a motion. Mr. Flemington?
Mr. Chair, having reviewed the application and having conducted my site visit, and noting that there are no letters in opposition of the application and no one is appearing tonight in opposition of the application, taking into account the staff report as well, I would like to move to vote in favor of the application as applied for, finding it meets the test of the Planning Act, and I'd like to include the following conditions: that the dwelling be built in general accordance with the final approved site plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning, and as well our standard condition that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued.
Thank you, Mr. Flemington. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve? That is unanimous. Your application is approved, sir.
Thank you very much.
We'll now hear CAV A136 at 198 Douglas Avenue. What's your name and address, please?
My name is Craig Esquante. I'm John Wilmot, architect. I'm the agent for the owner, Mr. Chella, who's the owner of the property at 198 Douglas.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to this application tonight? 198 Douglas Avenue. Seeing none. Committee members, again, I would note that staff are in support of this application. The applicant has submitted 5 letters, I believe, of support. Any questions for the applicant? Would you like a presentation? No? Sir, do you have anything that you'd like to add for the committee? Any comments on the proposed conditions?
I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any, but that's probably anything further to add at this point.
Thank you. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to ask for a motion. Mr. Hardcastle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Having reviewed the written materials and the drawings provided, and having undertaken a site visit, I'm satisfied that the requested variances conform to the 4 tests of the Act. And as such, I'll put forward a motion of approval subject to 2 conditions. The first being that the dwelling be built in general accordance with the final development engineering site plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Planning Services and elevation drawings dated October 9th, 2019, and that the approval expire within 2 years of the date of the decision if a permit has not been issued. I would note that there were no letters of opposition or support submitted on behalf of this application.
Just to clarify that, there were 5 letters of support?
Oh, my apologies. That there were 5 letters of support. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hardcastle. Any discussion on the motion to approve? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is unanimous. Your application is approved.
Thank you.
Moving right along to the final application of the night, CAV A137 at 253 Tweedsdale Crescent. Get your name and address, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, committee members and staff. My name is Mark Bell. I'm planner of Clench-Narn Associates at 10 Kingsbridge Garden Circle, Mississauga, Ontario.
Thank you. And just for the record, ask if there's anyone in the audience to speak to this. Seeing nobody in the audience, we'll take that as a no. Committee members, again, staff are in support of this application. Would you like a presentation? Do you have any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, I'll give you the opportunity if you'd like to add any information, comment on the conditions that are proposed by staff.
No, just for the record that we support staff's position on the application and recommendation for approval.
Okay, thank you. So at this point, I would then ask for a motion on this application. Mr. Flemington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having reviewed the application and having conducted my site visit, noting that there are no letters in opposition of the application and that there's no one in the audience opposing this application, I would like to move that I'll vote in favor of the application as applied for, finding it meets the four tests of the Planning Act, and noting that there are two conditions. One, that the accessory structure be permitted in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated October 18th, 2019, and elevation drawings dated October 4th, 2019. And the second condition, our standard approval expires within 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued.
Thank you, Mr. Flemington. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve? That too is unanimous. Your application is approved. Confirmation of minutes from October 22nd. Moved by Mr. Flemington. And, pardon?
Motion to adjourn.
And Mr. Hardcastle, motion to adjourn, motion to adjourn. And we are adjourned.
Thank you.
I'll sit down.
Have a lot of